The majority of us have heard about Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, Mothman, and even the Chupacabra. But there are legendary rare cryptids that you may not have heard of. This week, the Jackalopes will explore the rare cryptids of the world. I'm Floyd Whiting.
I'm Aaron Linden.
I'm Steve Sisson.
And I'm tired.
I'm glad you had a new one for us today. That was good.
Thank you.
Because I didn't.
I'm exhausted, so it works perfectly.
A cryptid is a creature that is mentioned in folklore or other accounts, but whose existence is questionable or has not been proven. Many animals today were actually once listed as cryptids, and this is something I wanted to put forth right in the beginning, that the duck-billed platypus was at one time a cryptid that nobody believed it existed.
Yeah, I mean, totally makes sense.
Because some dude shows up and he's like, check this out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how crazy is that, though?
It's kind of an otter. It's got a bill and it lays eggs. Oh, and it's highly venomous.
Floppy feet. It's got spikes behind its legs. Yeah, you're looking at that person going, man, whatever mushrooms you found when you were out there.
I want them.
So the Komodo dragon
Yes.
was at one time a cryptid. A lot of people didn't believe that there was a lizard that big just living out on a series of islands. Even the gorilla at one time was a cryptid. People believed that...
Till Jane Goodall came along.
Right? She stepped up, man. But a lot of people believe that, you know, you just come out of the forest with these crazy tales of this giant monkey is what they thought it was back then. And one cryptid that I did want to specify was recently proven to exist. I mean, we've always known that they did exist.
Chupacabra.
Giant squid was a living giant squid was not caught on film until the last decade. And that is a huge deal. Many of them had washed up on shores. Yeah, literally.
It's a huge deal.
Many had washed up on shores, but they don't last. So, squids being made of, a very... Well, it's like a
squid-like
muscle,
material.
Yeah, it's very squiddy.
It's very
squishy.
squishy. They try to freeze them as fast as they can, but it's by the time the people discover that they're even there.
That's a big chest freezer. By the way.
It's already most of these giant squids, though.
Right.
Most of them are actually no bigger than a car.
Right.
So yes, there's been legendary ones where someone I've seen a drawing. And I believe it's actually depicting a real thing that happened. I'll have to double check that. But they had a team of horses come down, and they hooked up a team of horses to this giant squid that was half on the beach, half not. And they drug it back up onto land because it was just so dang big. But recently, they finally caught one on film, and it's only for a brief moment. I mean, it comes into frame, kind of wraps itself around the bait, and then it's gone. But that's confirmation. They are there. They are real. Just a lot of different things that people didn't believe were a real animal at one time. And I wanted to put that forward before we go into these, especially with cryptids. Many cryptids, although witnessed many, many times, they're still unrecorded, uncategorized by science. So you can go down the basics. We got Bigfoot. There's been so many dang sightings of Bigfoot. And the different people who've stepped forward and said that this is a real thing, whatever they are out there. That's the only convincing part about the Bigfoot story for me, is the look on some of these witnesses' faces. These hunters who know these woods like the back of their hand. They've hunted them since they were kids. They know the difference between a bear and a man covered in fur. They know the difference. So whatever's going on there, who knows? But not categorized and still a cryptid. The abominable snowman. The snowman. I don't know why, but I can't say that.
Abominable.
Abominable snowman.
Nailed it.
Got that one. I'll see it in
Now
the
say
comments.
Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire.
So, but there was even a couple who was mountaineering, and they got a really good video. And I know you've seen this
Oh,
video,
yeah.
Aaron. The mountaineering couple, they're going up the side of the hill, and all of a sudden he's like, "What the hell is that? What is that?" And they turn the camera, and it's just walking across the hill like it's nothing.
Yeah.
You know, they're struggling to get up this thing.
Yeah. And it's kind of cruising, actually.
It's
like,
moving. Yeah, it's really going. And it's huge if you try and kind of gauge size, which is always difficult to do in those videos, you know. And you don't know for sure. They could have faked it. But, boy, that video looks pretty damn convincing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we had talked, I don't know if we talked on camera about it or off, but I'm like, who's going to fake that? Like,
Yeah, why-
okay,
yeah.
Tom, we're going into the death zone where you need oxygen, but we want you to put on this suit and just run up the hill. Like,
yeah. And that is another great point, was where they were, it would be pretty damn difficult, you know, to pack that suit up
Right.
there. Everyone get it put on. But, you know, you never know. They could have. But, again, it's one of those videos that's kind of fallen out of fame.
Mhm.
I was seeing it everywhere for the longest time, and now I'll bet it's been 5-6 years since I've even seen it myself. But some of these things do have, you know, some cryptids have like a spiritual or otherworldly type origin to them. You know, Mothman is a perfect example of that, because so many people believe that the appearance of Mothman, no matter where it's at, mostly on the eastern seaboard, is a premonition of doom, a premonition of a
Bridges collapsing.
something horrible taking place, right? That for some reason the Mothman arrives around this time period when things bad are about to happen. The Banshee.
Have y'all seen my bumper sticker?
Yes.
Yes.
It's the greatest. I love it.
It says, for anyone listening out there, it says, Mothman is real. We made out, and he is a gentle and caring lover.
It's a good guy. It's a good guy.
But you get that dust.
He's a
The
giver.
moth dust.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah.
You get used to it. I mean,
The eyes.
Yeah.
It's the eyes. But another one is the Banshee. In Scottish folklore, you know, she screams for the dead.
Mhm.
And so again, that's another, you know, otherworldly type aspect to these cryptids. Ghostly, yeah. So now, still others are nothing more than hoaxes or pranks or things that were done to never even been intended to be like a conspiracy theory or to be talked about, like the jackalope. The jackalope, our cryptid here in Wyoming, was basically made by a couple brothers who were doing a little bit of drinking, hanging out in the taxidermy, shed. And what was it, like a pelt fell onto a deer head or something?
They had a deer, I think, on the floor, and they were skinning rabbits that they had gone out and shot, and one of them slid off the table onto the deer, and they're like, "Oh, hey!" Look at
Yeah,
that,"
I would have. I'd have been like, "Let's do it, man."
Yeah, so they made it.
But what's really great is think about what that's created. Just a couple of guys having fun, and then they start taxidermying these things, you know. And the best part about it is, I've had people ask me, like, "Are jackalopes real?"
And
Oh my
you
gosh,
say, of course,
Like,
they
are
I had-
jackalopes real?
an ex-boyfriend who, I mean, he was adamant
He
that
was
they were real.
convinced.
And he was trying to convince me they were real. And I'm over here, I'm like, are they? I mean, I always thought they were fake.
But I love the variety of jackalopes that are out now, because, you know, you've got like the deer antlers,
Mhm.
but you also have the antelope horns.
Uh-huh.
You know, I would love to see one, just like a moose, a big
Oh,
epic
I love
it.
moose jackalope.
That would be
awesome.
something
It would
to
be
behold.
beautiful. It would be.
Have you seen
epic.
the one? It's the jackalope deer antlers pheasant body.
No,
I have not seen
Oh,
that
pretty
sounds
epic.
majestic though.
that. Man,
it was. It is kind of majestic.
I've got one at the house. Actually, I've got a buck and a doe, and it was given to me by a chief warrant officer who's a great guy. And I've thought about bringing it in here and just hanging it up on our wall, because it just sits in my office now. But yeah, it's beautiful. So, but what about the cryptids that people, especially in the Western world, haven't really heard about? It's almost as if no matter what region of the planet you go to, they have a mythical cryptid that people swear, this is a real thing. And we all know, we've had episodes about goblins and vampires and where these mythical creatures come from and the jinn, how did that all evolve? But these cryptids are something that tend to stick with us a little bit more than the jinn or than vampires. I don't know why. Maybe it is because there is something out there. Sure, someone may come along that says, it had horns and 4 tails and,
Right.
they go a little overboard. But what if you boil all that away and you get down to like a real animal that is out there that hasn't been discovered by science and categorized and studied? And then, kind of like with the Komodo dragon, if you were to go somewhere and describe a Komodo dragon to your friends who'd never seen one, they would think you're nuts.
You're nuts.
And then that person goes to the next person and says, man, Floyd was describing this lizard that's as big as a car, even though I didn't say it was as big as a car. You're like, oh, it's giant. Oh, it's the size of a cruise ship. And it just goes on from
Big
there.
old dragon.
Just a big old dragon. Had wings and serpents coming out of its mouth.
Breathing fire.
All kinds of stuff.
Yep.
People add to stories to make them more fantastical as they go. So, Mamlambo is a cryptid that I found that actually appears in South Africa. And it's part of Zulu folklore. But there are elders in the villages down there that swear this thing is real. And as I started to kind of look into it, you'd never know if it is or not. I mean, a lot of people believed that the anaconda was fake, that people were blowing that thing out of proportion. You get down into these tropical zones, and reptiles can get huge.
Massive.
So, Mamlambo, it's a reptilian snake-like being. It has legs in some descriptions, but not all. But the one thing that always caught me was one thing that a tribal leader said is the way that it glowed, because it reminds you of bioluminescence. So they describe
Like it wasn't scary enough. It needs
right, yeah. The animal's been described by eyewitnesses as being a 6 to 7 foot long reptilian-like creature. Other descriptions included a long tail, 4 stubby legs, a crocodilian-like torso, a serpentine neck, and they said the head was almost long and horse-like. So if you really try to picture that all wrapped up in scales, that could be a legitimate giant lizard, or something like a crocodile that's out there that's not a crocodile or an alligator. So the bioluminescence comes from its eyes. As one village elder claimed, quote, "It is a big snake, and I have seen what it does. The head and neck of a snake, and it shines at night with a green light," unquote. So if it did, I mean, bioluminescence is common.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. Lightning bugs, and then, you get farther into the sea, and that's like the only way that some of these things have to communicate. So it wouldn't blow my mind if there was an animal out there that had a bioluminescence that actually attracted prey, as opposed to having to go out and seek it. It just lights up because it attracts something, or maybe it has something to do with its mate. Local police do not believe that this thing is real,
As always.
because it's
No
on,
imaginations.
it's on a very specific river, and the river the name is hard to say. Minced lava. And usually it comes into the villages or comes close to the villages during the wet season. So when the river begins to flood, people believe that's when this thing starts to get closer to the villages because it doesn't like to leave the water, apparently. And the local police of the area are like, look, the river swells, people fall into the water, they drown.
Mhm.
That's all this is. But, a lot of people have said a lot of things, about, well, it's not a bear. That guy mauled himself,
You're
like,
right.
you see what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
They're trying to maybe not cover it up, but maybe not create a panic. So I started really looking into, well, what is there? What do we know is in South Africa? This is South Africa. And large snakes, well, as of right now, the largest snake down there is the dusky-bellied water snake. And it's only about 3 to 4 feet long.
That's not it.
Which is nothing, right? Like,
Yeah.
we look at the lengths of some giant snakes, and that's literally nothing. The average crocodile in South Africa is 12 feet in length. Although hunters who've been paid to go over there and kind of thin the herd have pulled 15-foot crocs
Wow.
out of that water.
That's how I die, is just trying to pet them. They're so cute.
If you say so.
They are.
So then I
She says
decided
with her hook arm.
I decided to look up, okay, well, what does science estimate as far as like the animals in that region that they haven't discovered? Right? Because it's a guess, but it's an estimation. It's an educated guess. According to some of these reports that I found, scientists estimate that there are at least another 50,000 species in South Africa that have not been discovered or
See,
Wow.
documented.
Right, that's the thing. Like, we're like, wow, a giant squid can't be. We don't know.
We don't know.
anything
Yeah, we
that's in
don't
the
know
ocean.
enough. Yeah.
And then they go into the Amazon rainforest,
Mhm.
right? And they're like, there are pink dolphins, and they're like, okay, whatever. There's pink dolphins, but like, you look at the population basis of the entire planet. You could, I don't remember what the statistic was. You could give every person on the planet 200 square feet to live in, and they would all fit in Texas.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, most of the land, people don't go to most of the planet. Like, maybe 1-2% of it are the big population centers. The rest of it's just the Wild West. We
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, they go into the rainforest all the time, and they're like, you wouldn't believe what we found. There's some wild shit out there.
I mean, they're even discovering, in local areas, like new species of bug that they didn't know.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, there's
New
tons of
species
yeah.
of spiders
Yeah.
that they didn't realize were there. These kinds of things are discovered all the time.
All the time.
And so, and we're not even talking about, going down to the depths of the ocean where we just have no idea what the hell's going on. Or like the deepest, darkest parts of the rainforest or the Congo. We haven't even really started to go in there and really study what could be there. But just regionally, we find things all the time where we're like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. Have you ever seen, around here we call them cow killers or cow punchers. Have you ever seen them? They're wingless wasps,
Oh, yeah.
and they are bright red or bright yellow.
Yes.
Like ground
Ew.
wasps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're very, very fuzzy. They look
They're not
like
very cute.
I think they're adorable. They look.
Really?
Yes, I do.
He's
Okay.
pure.
Especially when they're murdering cattle.
Yes, it's amazing to watch.
The only reason
I
they're
heard
called cow
fuzzy, and
killers.
suddenly it changed. You know what I mean? I was
The-
like, well, maybe.
So imagine a big fuzzy red and black ant.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they look like.
Yeah.
With an incredibly venomous stinger.
Ooh.
And that's why they call it the cow killer or the cow puncher. I can't remember exactly what they call it. But when this thing gets a hold of you, the pain, from what I understand, is absolutely intense. They're here. Carpenter Bee? No, I think it's different than that. I don't think it's the same one. But they're here in Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that
I'm looking it up.
forever until I saw one and I wanted to know. I was like, man, that is the strangest.
I wonder how it
ant.
tastes.
I was like, that is the strangest looking ant I've ever seen, and I had to look it up.
Venomy.
Yeah.
But see, I've lived in Wyoming all my life,
Right.
and so it just blows my mind. I've seen like maybe one. I've seen one of each variety. I've seen yellow ones and I've seen the red ones. The red ones are absolutely beautiful. Didn't know they were here until
Not cute.
I
No,
thought they were
not-
cute.
Also, it's called the cow killer
Cow killer. There we go. Yeah.
because cow puncher brought me to cowboy boots.
Well, yeah.
Close.
Cow killer's got a better ring to it.
I think so. I think so.
Sounds scary.
Yeah, no, not cute.
I thought they were cute, but anyway, my point being is that you could live in a region your entire life, and you'd never know. There are animals that go into hibernation for decades. How long does the cicada
Oh, they
hibernate
couple
under the
decades.
ground?
Yeah, there's different species that go
Yeah.
for
That's
I mean,
wild.
Yeah. So I mean, larger animals or something like that doing that for longer periods of time wouldn't surprise me.
Mhm.
Right.
Or these animals who, maybe they're intelligent enough to hear, well, that's an expedition. I don't know what that is, so I'm out of here. And they just won't approach humans in any way or allow themselves to be approached.
Bigfoot. Yeah.
Snow leopards. Snow
Yeah.
leopards are some of the most elusive beings on this planet. A lot of people didn't believe they were real until someone finally caught one on film. So, and of course, there's also been animals that are now extinct.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Dodo bird.
What do they call it? The
dodo
Australian
bird,
tiger?
I love it.
Was it the Australian tiger? Is that what it was called?
I don't know.
I'll have to look that up. But it was actually it was a dog that was tiger striped. And it's now I think someone managed to catch it on film sometime back in either the 1910s or the 1920s, and that's the only way that we can even prove that it was a real species on this earth. That they're gone now. They're all gone. So
because it's weird, nobody knows what it is. Hunt it.
well,
Yeah, exactly.
Kill it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
it cooks boys and the dodo bird.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, this animal doesn't run away. Let's go hit it with a stick. And they didn't, and they did that so much they didn't realize they wiped out the entire species
Mm-hmm.
because it had no natural predators.
They hit them with sticks.
They
too
beat them.
much.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
literally
So
beat them.
sad.
Seal clubbing.
Yeah,
Aw.
but
Yeah.
because they wouldn't run away,
Right.
so they just walk up and bash them in the head.
Oh
That was
God.
it.
Okay. Enough.
But I'm just saying, like,
Not to mention dodo steaks are amazing.
I've actually.
Well, butter.
They were. I mean,
They were fantastic.
A little butter, a little seasoning.
But that's why they were also called the dodo, because
Yeah, right.
they're not very smart bird. But again, they didn't know anything was a threat. So anyway, that's the cryptid that I chose. I really do think that there may be something out there. When it comes to listening to like the authorities in a local area, especially an area like that where these old elders are sitting around together, going, yeah, the guys in blue want to tell you that it's not real, but don't go out there during flood season.
Right.
If it was just a myth to kind of keep kids away from the river during the flood season, I totally get that. But the fact that as many elders of these villages have actually seen something like this, yeah, there's something out there that needs to be investigated.
Mhm.
So let's go over here to Emmy, which
Oh my gosh.
you're the one that chose this whole thing because of this crazy looking
It-
cryptid.
I don't
Was
even know where you
inspired.
found that, because like when I went searching for like the most cryptids, it never came up.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
so,
how
like, you
cryptid it
did
is.
a crazy deep dive on that one.
well, I will tell you, it was on Facebook.
Okay.
And
So
that's
it
how I
came to
found
you.
that. It came to me.
Yeah.
And so we are going to talk about the squonk.
Squonk.
I love the name of it too.
Squonk.
Squonk.
I feel bad for it already.
I know. Okay.
That's
so
how
the-
you know you found one, because you're like searching for it and it's like squonk.
so
Probably
the
accidentally
squonk-
step on it, and that's the sound that it makes.
Oh my gosh. Oops. Oh, it's stepped in gum.
Right.
That'll make
I got
sense. once I
squonk all over
let you know
me.
the description. So the squonk is a mythical creature that is attributed to the forests in Pennsylvania.
Oh wow, local boy.
Here we go.
So the origins of it came from a 1910 book called Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwoods, which I need to read right now. But in there, they were saying that they thought the creatures may have come from the deserts and actually migrated to the swamp areas because of logging camps just moving and moving and moving, is what it says on here. So
Squonk hitched a ride.
Forced migration.
So, my favorite part, the appearance and behavior of the squonk. So I am going to quote the Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwoods. Quote, the squonk is of a varying retiring disposition, generally traveling about at twilight and dusk. Because of its misfitting skin, which is covered with warts and moles, it is always unhappy. Hunters who are good at tracking are able to follow a squonk by its tear-stained trail.
Oh.
For the animal weeps constantly. When cornered and escape seems impossible, or surprised and frightened, it may even dissolve itself into tears.
It's the saddest creature ever. My God.
The squonk. Squonk.
Yeah.
So, unlike many...
I'm a squonk.
I feel like a squonk sometimes.
We've all been there. We've all
I
had our
think we've all
squonk days.
had
yeah.
our squonk
We've
days.
all had squonk
yes,
days.
you're allowed to have your squonk days. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But interesting enough, the squonk has never changed in physical characteristics or behavior throughout the years. Like a lot of accounts of seeing a cryptid is like, oh, it looked like this.
Yeah.
No, it looked like this.
Mine
no,
was
it looked
purple.
Like this.
Yeah.
And no, this one has stayed the same throughout all the years.
Well, you can't improve on that.
No.
Just a
How do
little-
you embellish
Yeah.
that?
A little wrinkly, wart and mole-filled sad critter.
Wow.
Which I will give Grant a picture to put up.
Yeah.
What?
Gotta have a picture of this guy.
Yeah.
My big question for the squonk is
Squonk.
if it's so sad, how do they reproduce?
Yeah.
They're like, this is
Oh my God.
Look away, I'm hitting it. Right. Take the lights off.
So maybe they reproduce by budding.
Don't look at me.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Reproduce
like a
by
mole pops
budding. A
off.
little mole.
Yeah.
Oh.
A little
That's like a
nasty
gremlin.
mole.
I think you
Okay.
got it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
But-
not voluntarily. They're around just because they can't help it.
Yes. Yeah.
They want to end their existence and they just keep procreating all over. That's even
So-
cause for depression.
I can't
In
wait.
this economy.
I can't wait to say this part. Let me have the floor, sir. I have to talk about the squonk. Later retellings included the squonks were slowest on moonlit nights as they try to avoid seeing their ugly appearance in any illuminated body of water.
They don't want to see their reflection, so they're nice and slow, just in case.
In addition to warts and moles, the creature were given webbed toes on their feet.
Oh.
So-
For no
Of course.
reason.
Just
That doesn't
to
swim.
add to it.
Does
man.
it say anything about swimming at all?
It swims in its own tears.
It doesn't say anything about swimming.
No.
I assume that's where the coming from desert to swampland kind of comes in.
Yep. Yep.
And maybe it was an evolutionary standpoint
Had
of
to
that.
develop webbed feet. Of course it did.
So it probably stinks like a swamp, too.
Oh my gosh. It
Oh.
probably smells so bad on top of being so ugly it's cute.
I mean, with these ulcerated
And it's
sores all over it.
So ugly
yeah.
it's cute. It looks like a very wrinkly Shar-Pei dog. That's sad.
That's actually that's pretty good description of what it looks like.
Because it's good. Anyway, again, we'll have Grant put a picture up. But one of my favorite little tidbits is that Johnstown, Pennsylvania celebrates the squonk at Squonkapalooza in August.
Wait,
We-
August when?
Are they hiring bands?
right?
It just says
We'll be
August,
your
but
roadies.
I can follow
We got to
up.
find out. We could take a road
Oh
trip.
my God,
Wouldn't that be
We're
Squonkapalooza.
only
awesome?
halfway through
I would,
August.
I would die.
We could go
die.
do a show from Squonkapalooza.
Oh my
I think that
God.
Oh
would
my
be so
God, it should
fun.
be so
Yeah.
good.
They have like a squonk band. They're just dressed hideously.
And they've
They're
gotta
just
play-
playing really bad
Yeah.
blues or something.
Everything in a minor key.
Yes.
Yeah, nothing above like 90 BPM.
Oh my
Slow,
God.
sad songs.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everyone is just like moping around. Everybody's head is down.
Just doing the Eeyore
Squonk-a-con.
all around town.
I want a shirt with squonk on it. Oh,
I
my
would
gosh.
totally get a squonk shirt. I think that would
I bet
be
if we
great.
go to Squonkapalooza,
I bet if we go to Squonkapalooza.
I bet we could get squonk hats.
Oh, no. That looked like a foreskin.
Floyd would still wear it.
No, I would.
I bet he would.
Yeah.
I would rock it. So the squonk.
That's my favorite one.
That
ever.
one's pretty good. I
The
really like
squonk
that.
is just
I've never heard of it.
precious little sad baby that needs to be protected at all costs, even if he doesn't want to be.
The thing of it is like where would the squonk even come from? Like in myth or legend, like someone just sitting there staring into a fire and they're like, I'm going to tell you the story about the squonk.
I'm going to tell you right now. Foreskin.
Yeah.
Someone was looking at that and thought,
How sad.
How squonky.
How squonky is that?
I have a lot more than everyone else.
So squonky.
The squonk.
Grant is going to be
Grant's
ill.
losing it. He's losing it.
Crying.
He's kind of squonking over there.
He's squonking out.
Getting a little squonky.
All right.
Everybody's gonna watch this episode and be like, "They were high."
Yeah.
Oh my
What is
gosh.
wrong with those
Yeah,
people?
Yeah.
All right,
High on
Steve.
squonk. Anyway.
What did you find, my
Well,
friend?
I've got one that kind of stretches the definition of a cryptid, and then one that definitely stretches the definition of a cryptid. But I want our fellow jackalopes to say hello to Pard.
Pard.
Oh, look at the balls.
Oh yeah, pard.
Yes, Pard.
Nice.
So kind of pushing the limit. It's more of what you talked about early in the program. A couple of different mythologies around Pard. The one I liked the best, which probably is not the most accurate one, is that Pard, as you can tell by looking at him, proves to be irresistible to the female lion.
Oh yeah.
Well,
duh.
Yeah, who is
Yeah.
tired of hanging out with the king of the jungle with his mane and everything, and ends up hooking up with Pard here.
Who wouldn't want a pard?
And
Yeah.
the result
Want a party?
the result of this union is the Leo Pard, or leopard.
Oh.
being kind of like a mule, being they thought unable to reproduce on its own, had to be the bastard child of this and a lion. But the story that's probably actually more accurate is that Pard actually is a leopard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then they thought that the illegitimate offspring was the cheetah. But then, of course, they found out that cheetahs can actually reproduce on their own as well.
So this at
Interesting.
one time probably, late medieval, I'm imagining, when they were trying to make bestiaries
Yes,
to
exactly.
pass around
Yep.
to explorers, they just had to make educated guesses about where all these things came from.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was. Somebody encountered an animal they hadn't seen before. They drew the most accurate depiction of it that they could come up with.
Mm-hmm.
And this
Which we
was-
all know in medieval times they couldn't draw cats.
Oh, man, they can.
We all know
I
that.
don't know why.
Yeah.
And why it has a tiki type face? I'm not 100%
It
sure.
does look kind of concerned, too.
Yes.
It's like, oh, man, is she coming back for more? Because, we already did the do.
Pardon me.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mr. Lion's coming back. Apparently, he had a very strong musk, too.
Oh, I can
of
believe
course.
that.
That the lioness had to remove either by killing the Pard or by cleaning everything thoroughly after the tryst.
Everybody knows.
I have some cologne made of
Yeah.
pard. Ude pard.
Women like you gamey.
So I just like that one because it's the mythology, of course, has faded as we learned more about leopards and cheetahs and lions
Yeah.
and what actually goes on in the jungle, and so Pard kind of faded away.
But maybe back then. Maybe.
Well, and back then, a lot of people, that's a legitimate animal to.
yeah, I mean it looked just like that.
Yeah, I bet it did.
I hope not.
Any
That would be the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
on crests.
Maybe it was a
like,
Pard.
our family shield has a pard on it.
It's a paw.
Yeah, this was a Pard heading to Squonkapalooza, maybe.
Yes. And so he's getting ready.
I
He was
gotta make
getting
sure
ready to
my
be sad.
warts
Yeah.
are, polished. The other one definitely pushes the limits more. I just like the story of this, though. This is Spring-Heeled Jack.
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And This is in Victorian London, terrorizing the women of that area and the surrounding area for between 1837 and 1904. So it's a pretty long period of time.
Right.
A lot of sightings. And this would be like a demon type person, or maybe extraterrestrial or ghost or something like that. But described as having a grotesque demon-like face, eyes that are balls of red fire, and the superhuman ability to jump. But I guess like jump,
really jump.
Yeah, jump over fences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
So
was
I mean,
just like an Olympian.
yes, and breathe blue and white fire
Oh.
as well. The descriptions would be that he would attack women and had claws that some said were, claws, others said they were like metallic, maybe appendages that were put on there. But the story I like most about Spring Hill Jack is that there was a woman who claimed to have been attacked by Spring Hill Jack, and police found someone who matched the description. And actually, I think the person said, "Oh yeah, I'm the guy." And so there was a trial. And in the trial, the police and everyone involved in the trial, being as dutiful as they could, said, "So, how about the blue and white fire? Can you vomit fire like, Spring Hill?" And he's like, "I don't believe I've ever had the ability to do that." And they're like, "Okay, well, you're not the guy. Carry on, good sir."
Oh my gosh! No way, really? So they just let him walk.
Can't be you then. Carry on.
Failure in the justice system.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
And after 1904, the sightings kind of like just went away. So it was one of those, kind of Jack the Ripper type sort of things. But
So it could have been like an absolute madman who had an excellent jumping ability, and of course, some people could be like, "Oh, he jumped over that entire fence."
right. And I've seen police videos where a person on the run, with adrenaline going,
Oh,
can
yeah.
jump fences and stuff.
Right.
So it's not totally a superhuman ability, but a person or series of people maybe with the imitators.
Yeah.
I just
attacking
love.
women and-
Let's see. Jump for us, and he's like, and they're like, "Okay, let me see your claws." Oh yeah, claws.
Oh, they're shiny.
How about the fiery breath thing?
I don't do that.
No, I don't have that. Oh well.
Never mind.
The whole
Sorry for
case
troubling
is
you.
thrown away. I can't.
I apologize, citizen. Go about your day.
Here's
Put your-
$20 for your trouble.
Put your horns back on and your cloak and carry on.
Clearly, you're not the guy.
Here's your metal fingertips. Go scratch someone else.
I just love that part of the story, which is
That's incredible.
Yeah.
though.
That's the
Yeah.
greatest
I mean,
part of the
not
story.
not really a cryptid per se, but
In a
Well,
way,
in a
though.
way, it totally
yeah.
it could be. I mean, if it was a demon,
If it was a demon.
then
Yeah. And speaking of demons, let's head on over here to Aaron.
So there's actually a sports team named after him, New Jersey Devils. But the thing about the Jersey Devil, it's kind of crazy. So I'm going to take us way back. So Southern Jersey, Philadelphia folklore in the United States talks about the Jersey Devil, also known as the Leeds Devil. And it's a legendary creature said to inhabit the forests of Pine Barren in South Jersey. Creature's often described as a flying biped with hooves.
Hooves.
I like hooves.
Yes, hooves. Groovy, hoovy. But there are many variations. Common description is that it's a bipedal, kangaroo-like or werven-like creature with a horse or goat-like head, leathery bat wings, horns, small arms with clawed hands, legs, and cloven hooves. Devil.
Hooves.
And a forked or pointed tail. And if you look at the New Jersey Devils logo,
It's the tail.
it's the NJ with the pointy tail. It's also said that it has a strange elongated body and a thick tail, and it's been reported to move quickly and is oftenly described as emitting a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream. So why is it called the Leeds Devil? Well, where did that come from? 1735, rather. Mother Leeds was in labor on a stormy night, probably in a graveyard. And her friends had gathered around. Unfortunately for her, this was her 13th child.
As it happens.
Number 13. We
These
all know
things
that that's-
We
happen.
are never having 13
Oh my God.
children.
stop at 12. It's
Holy
the only
cow.
reasonable thing to do.
Right. And so she was so ticked off that she was having her 13th child that
yeah, as
she
you would be.
cursed the child.
Oh.
Okay.
The child was born normally. However, it transformed later on into a creature with hooves, a goat head, bat wings, and a forked tail. Growling and screaming, the child beat everyone with its tail before flying up the chimney and heading into the pines. In some versions of the tale, Mother Leeds was also supposedly a witch, and the child's father was the devil himself.
Ooh, I like that.
Right?
I like that.
So some variations of this legend also state that local clergymen subsequently attempted to exorcise the creature from the pine forest. This is where it gets kind of weird, though. Later on,
this
where it gets weird?
Now we're getting weird.
Everything was fine until now.
It's been super normal up to this.
You lost me at 13 kids.
There's a Benjamin Franklin tie-in.
Ooh,
Yeah. So
good old Benny.
Franklin wrote down this whole story, and since the Leeds son inherited an almanac business, which was the business Franklin was in, Franklin actually in jest stated that Titan Leeds, the other son, the 12th son, would die in October of 1733. Just kind of as a joke. Later on, after October had passed, Benjamin Franklin claimed that indeed Titan had died and was writing his almanac from beyond the grave as a ghost.
Oh.
So the Leeds family crest, interestingly, had a dragon-like creature, not a pard, with prominent wings, and it stood on 2 legs, giving it a somewhat devilish appearance, where maybe the legend of this thing had come from. But there have been many sightings and occurrences involving the Jersey Devil, and according to legend, some visiting Hanover Mill Works guy was there inspecting his cannonballs to be forged, right? And Commodore Stephen Decatur sighted a flying creature and fired a cannonball at it with no effect.
Ooh, that's...
Hit it square on.
Shoot
nothing.
it, that's the thing.
Then Joseph Bonaparte, elder brother of Napoleon, also claimed that the Jersey Devil was seen when he was hunting in the Bordentown estate in about 1820. In 1840, the Jersey Devil was blamed for several livestock killings. Similar attacks were reported during 1841, accompanied by tracks and screams. In Greenwich Township, 1925, local farmer shot an unidentifiable animal as it attempted to steal and eat his chickens. He photographed the corpse and afterwards claimed that none of 100 people that he showed it to, including local residents who have been around there forever, could identify what it was. Then during the week of January 16th through the 23rd, 1909, newspapers published hundreds of claims encountered with the Jersey Devil from all over South Jersey to the Philadelphia area. Among these alleged encounters were also claims that the creature attacked a trolley car in Hayden Heights and a social club in Camden. So here's what I found interesting about this is, if you think about the area in which this creature is, winged creature attacking, high-pitched screaming, moves from New Jersey to Philadelphia, right? Pennsylvania area. And I am putting this together thinking it's settled in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and is actually the Mothman.
Oh, wow.
Winged creature screaming, terrorizing people. I'm like, I wonder if the Jersey Devil isn't the Mothman.
Wow.
I could see that. I could
It could
see
happen.
that.
Yeah.
Again, just different ways of describing something, you know?
Fiery red eyes, flying in the air.
And you always
screaming.
get just a glancing look at it. You don't really get to study it.
It's moving, you know, I mean, it's like, okay, I've terrorized these people enough. They're after me. I will go over here. And then I'll just settle in West Virginia.
I like that theory. Yeah.
How cool is it? What if it was?
Oh,
Like, really?
I
Like,
think it could be.
yeah.
Because leathery wings, mothy wings, it's got wings. It's
Yeah.
flying around screaming.
Well, and if you
Yeah.
think about those kids when they were out there at that ammo depot and driving away, it's not like they were sitting there going, okay,
Yeah.
I want a detailed description so I can tell the police what this thing. No, they're driving away, staring at this thing out the back
yeah, and it's attacking them.
of a car window at night,
Yeah.
watching this thing in the red rear lights of a car.
Right.
It could be anything at that point.
Have we done a deep dive on Mothman?
We have not
have
checked
not.
in Mothman
We
yet.
should, because I'm curious to see how the dates line up. You know?
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
That could be
if it's a creature, from another dimension or whatever, who knows how long it could live?
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Who knows how long that thing could live? And I'm not saying that it's real, but I will say that like all the events, there's a lot about the Jersey Devil. There's a lot about Mothman.
right.
There's something. It's
Oh,
got to
yeah.
be something.
Well, it's got to be something.
It always bothers me when there's been 2 instances now where authorities basically sit back and say, "Well, it was an owl."
Yeah.
And it's like it was with the little green men with that family in Kentucky.
Yep.
Where
What kind of bug is that?
it's a
Mothman.
wasp.
Oh no,
It's
I
a
don't
wasp.
like that.
No,
It's
that's
coming.
that's not the cow killer, but it's distant cousin.
Yeah,
I
his
don't
distant
like
cousin.
that.
It's just it's a hornet, not a wasp. Sorry. So anyway, but the little green man, that attacked that family for 4 hours.
And they shut
And
up their
then-
own house.
Yeah, and they shot holes through their own house.
It's
and
an
the
owl.
police are like, I'm sure they just went
Grant
crazy
is
over
just
an owl.
so paranoid right now.
But Grant does not like bugs.
No, well, I don't like wasps. I like
Yeah.
a lot of bugs.
It can
but
just hang out right there and be fine.
Yeah.
He was down here. I just wasn't saying anything.
Oh my God, how dare you?
Yeah, he's right here by us.
He's-
He was
Probably
hanging
all your fault.
He's
Floyd.
hanging out right here.
he
He was on
probably
my paper
attracted
for the longest
to
time.
your sprite down there.
Probably what it
That's
was.
probably true.
Yeah.
But anyhow, yeah. And then all of a sudden, they did the same thing to those kids.
Mhm.
When they saw Mothman, they're
Yeah.
like, "Wow, you guys just saw a big owl."
Yeah.
And it chased
Really?
the car.
And it chased
'cause
the
that's what
car.
owls
And
do.
how big was that damn owl?
Yeah.
Like,
I've seen some pretty good sized owls.
Oh, gosh,
but
the other
nothing
day-
the size
Not
of a
Mothman
man.
size.
Yeah.
the other day I was driving home from work and there was a vulture on the side of the road. I had no idea it was there until it flew at my car.
Wow.
Oh.
And I almost pissed my pants. I
You
was
sure it
like,
wasn't
holy
Mothman?
shit. Yeah.
Now,
no, not Mothman. Definitely a vulture. It was
I think
bright
that's
enough
one thing-
outside I could see.
Yeah.
that a lot of people do experience
Mm-hmm.
is like, we see it on TV or we see it at a distance. We don't realize that some of these birds of prey or vultures are as big as they actually are
Yeah, that's
until
true.
we get close and we're like, holy cow, that is huge.
Grant's wondering where it went.
Yeah, now it's disappeared. Now, just for you folks at home, Grant is now turning into Sherlock Holmes, trying to deduce where the wasp is.
The spider messed with him.
Oh man,
yeah.
we had a spider in the bathroom the other day.
Oh, he was big.
It was a good sized spider too. It was a big wolf
Yeah.
spider. And spiders don't bother me, so I was just inviting everybody in. And he was curled up in a corner, just hanging out.
Tweet.
And so
little.
I invited Grant to see the spider, and he's like, "Well, it looks like I'm peeing outside now."
How does that
Not a
that
bug
all
guy.
transpire? You're like, hey, Grant, you want to come to the bathroom with
Yeah,
me?
come to the bathroom. He's like, not I can.
Essentially, it's just
I only got 5 minutes this time.
you gotta come see the size of this spider, And for those people who don't live in Wyoming, we have wolf spiders here, and a wolf spider will carry her young on her back,
Yeah.
and that makes them look humongous. And it's even scarier if you see her shake. She does this little shake, and all those young just dump off of her, and it just looks like an
Spread it all
It's
explosion.
disgusting.
I love spiders, but I don't think I want to see that.
Oh, it's amazing.
I've seen this one video where this woman was like, she had a broom and she smacks it on this big spider and she's like, got it. And so
Yeah.
she lifts it up and all of them just start
Yeah.
coming
Go
out.
everywhere. I love that, man. Caring mothers. But yeah, matter of fact, speaking of spiders, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the beginning of the show, but they just discovered a new species of tarantula.
Oh, wow, really?
Again, yeah, another one.
That's really where all the cryptids are. I mean, the insect world and stuff like that. There are
Oh, yeah.
tons
Oh,
of
so
undiscovered.
many.
Because think about how odd insects look. You know, they just really are almost alien-like,
Yeah.
especially
Well,
big eyes and things like that, multiple eyes.
Yeah.
You
And
don't
some
get
of the
that.
things that can happen, that fungus that gets a hold of ants
Stop it.
and then
Oh, and it like zombie.
and
Oh,
it
yeah,
zombifies
yeah.
the
God,
ants.
Yeah.
ugh,
It's brilliant.
I don't like it.
The
Yep.
animal kingdom is an amazing place with things that, blow your mind with the way that evolution has taken these different routes.
Real quick. Sorry, I'm interrupting. But there is this it's almost like a deer creature, small deer creature. And it's got 2 sets of nostrils.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It breathes out its
I-
side
Out of its side. Yeah. I think it's the
it was
side of its
only
skull or
a
something.
couple years ago. I saw a video of that, and I was like, that's gotta be fake.
Well, and forever, ever, there were stories about that thing. And people were like, okay.
That's the thing. I'm like, that has to be fake. And then
Nope.
it wasn't.
That's real.
My mind was blown.
Yeah.
And that's how I think a lot of cryptids start.
That's
Right.
exactly how.
Yeah.
I mean, someday we'll go like San Diego Zoo, and you're like, here's the Mothman exhibit.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
He's just chilling.
I can't wait for that day. And we all know why.
They need to put P.T. Barnum's Fiji mermaid to shame.
Oh man! Oh, I've seen that. They actually have the original one at Ripley's, believe it or
Yeah,
not,
I went and saw it.
in Newport, Oregon. And when I didn't realize that they had it there, and so I was just kind of taking a tour of the place because it's a fantastic place if you like weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And holy crap, there it is! And you're just like, wow, there's the Fiji mermaid. and I probably spent more time there than I did with the crown jewels that they've got locked in the back there, which is an amazing display as well.
Mm-hmm.
And just for those folks at home, if you're ever in that building, do not put your hand over top of the holographic projector because the entire room seals closed.
And Floyd knows this from personal experience. No.
Yeah.
My little brother was like, "Oh, is that real?" And he reached out to get, and it's a hologram.
Uh-huh.
And somehow this device, this huge safe that they have, actually has the crown in the center of the safe, but through light and imagery, it projects this thing on top. And my little brother, he was just a little kid. He was only like maybe 12. He was like,
I'd be
only like 37.
yeah.
I would
was
have
like,
died of embarrassment if this happened to me.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. And it happens instantaneously. He just reached out and he said, "Is that real?" And he reached out to grab it. And then the whole wall spins closed.
Wow.
And everything lights up and it just starts to, sound an alarm. And here comes the attendant with his head down.
Oh my God,
and he
he's been
sticks
doing
a
this
key
all
in,
day.
and then the wall opens back up and he's like, "Please don't touch the displays." And he turns around and you're like, holy crap, man.
Poor guy.
Great. So
Yeah,
now
probably
you know what's
happens
gonna
all the
happen.
time. Yeah.
There's going to be a
He
rash of
sounds
people
like a
that go there
squonk.
and do that.
He was a little squonky.
Yeah.
He was a little squonky about it. Yeah. But so rare cryptids of the world, this I've said this multiple times. I hope we don't discover everything. I feel bad for the generation that will eventually have categorized everything on the face of this planet,
Including the squonk.
If mankind
squonk.
is around that long, I feel bad for those people because the mystery of our universe right here at home will be gone.
I think you'll always be able to invent something, though. Because how will you
Absolutely.
know? You won't know
Absolutely.
for sure that you got them all.
Well,
there might be one still out there somewhere.
That's the thing is, one day though, we will. It's bound to happen.
I'm sure it will, but you won't know that you did it. You'll always think, well, maybe we missed one somewhere. Maybe.
Everything always comes down to ones and zeros.
Yeah.
Always.
But who makes the ones and zeros?
the squonk.
The squonk. The squonk doesn't have the determination.
We live in the squonk's world, man. I'm just living it. All right. That's been Jackalopes Explore.
Go have a squonk day.
Squonky day.
That's got to be a new verb from now on.
Go home and just squonk.
How you feeling? Pretty squonk.
Yeah.
Squonked.
I'm not coming to work today. I got a squonk thing going on.